You are.
I said
Your
the
son
same.
said the same.
I said the same.
He
You
said
are.
the
Oh,
same.
yes. You should be called Liam.
Yeah,
So we'll call you Liam from the start.
I like that, yes.
And I only saw him once,
Yes.
but like you said now, he had a great sense of humour.
Ah.
He had a great sense of humour, but he could turn the other way too.
Oh, yeah. I think a lot of people have that. Or in my family, they're very funny, but also, yeah.
Or they
They can draw the line.
Yeah, exactly.
Or they can turn the other way too.
Yep.
Well,
Yeah.
that's good policy too,
I agree, yes.
at times.
Yes. So you met him at your home. You were a young boy when Liam came to your house?
I was only about that height.
He
Yeah.
died in 1931.
Yeah.
1931.
He died.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1931, yeah.
So you'd be only about maybe 3 or 4.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
No, but all I know is I was a little toddler.
Yeah.
And he came to the door and he had the habit of coming down this long there and all he wanted, he stood at the doorstep and a coal of fire he wanted, a red coal of fire like, to light a fire on the bog to make the tea.
Yeah.
So
Okay, that's the story, yeah. Yeah.
And my father and mother, they weren't in at the time, and he didn't stay long. But my father was very fond of him, and so was all the neighbours, because he was a comedian.
Yeah.
Oh, he was.
Yeah.
There was a murder case on one time. It was all over in the papers, and there was very few murders at the time. But the trial went on for a very long time anyway. They couldn't prove him guilty, like.
Right.
But it was in winter time anyway, and it was a rambling house, and all the neighbours, all the characters used to be in, and Liam Ging was, he was longing to see this man whom I knew. And so the trial went on for a long time. This night I knew they were all talking about him. So one of the visitors said, anyway, the only thing now, says one of them, it's up to the jury now. They may not find him guilty at all. Oh, Mr. Ross said, if I was a judge, there'd be no such a thing as a jury, he said. I'd pass the sentence straight away, he said, to put the rope around his neck. I tell him, home in 5 minutes, here.
He was just saying for the crack, like.
Yeah.
Oh, for the crack.
Yeah.
For the fun.
Yeah.
And then I was telling Kelly and Hank then that he was great man at sea.
Oh, he was.
And that's one of the stories. And do you have the
I didn't bring in the small one.
Don't worry.
Yeah.
But I think all Jimmy's stories are really in that article.
Yeah. Yes.
You know.
Yes.
So you were telling that we believe somehow that the Gings maybe originally were from County Clare.
Ah.
Yeah. And there are Gings in Clare.
Yeah.
But there were stories going around that they probably going back maybe another generations before. So then he rode across to the Cork with 2 more two men to County Clare, which is it's a long journey to row.
Very far,
and Jimmy didn't pick up the story either.
Yeah.
Remember the day they went to Clare?
Yeah, yes.
You tell them the story then.
It happened anyway. There was about halfway between the and Clare, and it was a clear day. And all of a sudden, this thick fog came down all of a sudden. But they say anyway that he was gifted. Day or fog, night or fog, that he could make his way in the daft. Out on the ocean, no, I mean.
Yeah.
But but that you could be very strict and very strict in the canoe, but there'd be no nonsense about him. It'd be really in earnest. And there was a lot on the sand now, the three of them, to make their way to the shore below. And he was guiding the venue. And the other two didn't know where they were going, north or south, east or west. But they had great confidence in Liam that he would make his way to the shore below here. But they didn't know where they were going. It was in winter time, and they were nearly landed at the shore down there below, where they wanted to land. And all of a sudden, the fog cleared up like that. And it was nearly getting dark now at this time, but that little bit with the daylight. And the pub down there below now, which we call now the Putting Still, there was no electricity around at that time. So all of a sudden, they lit the lamp. And when he saw the light, oh, but the Lord said, the lighthouse, the lighthouse is still clear. And what a great man to direct them to the spot.
Right to the spot.
Yeah, that's an instinct he had.
Yeah.
Because he'd have no...
No compass.
He'd have no compass.
I didn't know no compass, yeah.
No, and in the fog.
In the fog you can tell nothing, yeah.
But but as you were saying, right, that he told the other two, like, to leave it to me.
Yeah.
You know, and he knew then he could...
Yeah. Confidence.
Oh, yes.
Confidence.
He knew himself.
An instinct, like, just there seemed he had a sense of direction, even in the fog.
Yeah, I have at my home in Massachusetts his brass binoculars. When my aunt came, my great aunt, Sarah, she brought back a couple of blankets, a tablecloth that he wove, a small brass pitcher. I would have thought it was for water. It's probably really for whiskey or something else. I don't know why they had that, but it's very small. You can see how it's been mended. And his brass binoculars, they used to have a rope around them. The rope is long gone, but and you can't see a thing out of them there.
What was it? Was it just for?
I assume when he was fishing. I don't know. I really don't know.
That's interesting that he had binoculars.
Yeah, very unusual for somebody, especially they had no money. So how he had this brass binoculars? Somebody must have given them to him. Yeah. And I don't really know the story.
But he was a very clever man, wasn't he?
Oh yes. And he was a great weaver.
Yes.
Oh yes.
Yes, we have two beautiful fabrics that he made, which I need to find some place here. Is there a historical place, a place that would be able to have that? They're lovely, but they belong here to tell his story here.
Yeah, so objects, is it?
Yeah.
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 Well, they're talking about building a kind of a heritage centre here.
That's right.
Yeah. It'll probably take a few years.
I have something for them when they build it. I have
yeah.
two of his woven. One is a wool blanket. The loom must have been about this wide because both the blanket and the tablecloth are that wide, and then have a seam with another piece added in. Yeah, and the blanket I believe is lovely. It's wool. The other I'm not really sure if it's wool or linen.
Yeah, wool would be the common material.
Yeah.
You know, that was the way. Like.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's amazing, you know, that Jimmy's the only person that
Yes.
I'm the only person alive now today
that knew him.
That saw Liam Ging.
Yeah, yes.
I suppose he'd be very much the same age as your grandfather,
Yeah.
Seamus.
Yeah.
There would be much between them.
There wouldn't be a lot.
No.
Yeah.
No.
And there was another weaver just living beside him, called Martin Brownlock, isn't that right?
Yes,
Martin Brownlock is in English is Welsh.
Yeah. Yes, I knew their. My grandmother. So the stream, the water.
Yeah.
My grandmother told the story of having to jump across to.
That's right.
Yes, to jump across to visit her friend Catawana.
Yeah.
Do I say the last name badly? But Welsh.
There's only the stream beside them.
Yeah.
Between them.
Yeah. So my grandmother was a little girl. Her best friend lived across the.
Yeah.
At Catawana. How did you say the name in Welsh and?
Brownlock.
Brana.
Brana.
I'm saying it better than
Yeah.
Catabrana.
Brownlock.
Yeah.
But more.
So I knew her when so she also lived near me in Maine.
Oh yeah.
Her family, I knew
Yeah,
her
yeah,
also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there was Martin Brownlock. He was roughly the same age as Liam Ging, and they were extremely good friends. You said.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
They were extremely good friends.
Yep. That,
And they used to be fishing together and all that.
yeah.
And you were so. Was it Liam Ging that somebody, students from Dublin took us Cork, or was that?
Oh yes. He had a corach and a canoe.
Yeah.
Well, the canoe, that's the kind of boat they used to have, and still have them. They're light to carry. They don't anchor them at all. Just carry them, this canoe on their shoulder from the shore down to the water. That's the way you used to put out the canoe. But Liam Ging was up at the house one day. It was in summertime, and he was looking down towards the sea, and there was a lot of students around from Dublin and other places learning Irish in summertime. But he saw them down at the shore. You could see them in the distance. Next thing, he saw them lifting his cork or canoe and down towards the sea. When he ran like an animal, and down he goes. And when he went down anyhow, his canoe up on a rock. But it wasn't damaged, no water, but it could have been. And I don't know how many of them was in the canoe, but they weren't in deep water now at this stage. So I don't know why, but he kept cool. For a change, he kept cool. He kept cool. And hello, boys. Oh, hello. What are you doing there now? Oh, we're going for a swim. Going for a row. Oh, that's nice now. That's very nice of you know. And one of the lads then, he was the main speaker. And where are you from now? Oh, we are from Dublin. Oh, from Dublin. That's the capital of Ireland. That's the capital of Ireland. Says Liam, I haven't heard of it. I was never there. Has your father now a car? Oh yes, a big fashionable car. And oh yes, says Liam. So suppose now, if I went to Dublin and if I took your father's car, what would you do? Or what would you say? Oh, he'd have you in jail. I'd have you in the water now. Up, take off, he nearly thrown the lads them. And put them to canoe then. It was a very funny story. And he was quick-tempered, like, but he
held his cool.
He
he
did.
did. But,
He walked them into it.
Yes.
oh, he'd have you in jail, yes. Well, I'd have you the bloody water now.
And that's a smart man
Yeah,
who
yeah.
knew how to to tell them into that. Very clever.
Yeah. He was a clever man.
Yeah.
But like that was his livelihood.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
like that Corach was more important to him than the guy in Dublin's car
Oh,
was.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah. It's the only way he could feed his
Yeah, yeah,
family.
yeah. and we're saying to he had only a small farm.
It was a very small farm he had.
Yeah.
Very small farm.
Just a few fields. So that's why probably he was weaving
And fishing.
and fishing.
Yeah. Yeah. You do what you need to do.
Well, he'll be remembered.
See?
Oh, we remember now since the article in the paper.
Yeah.
I think that was your idea, that you didn't want that he'd be lost in
Yes,
memory.
being remembered. Yes, I'm glad you did that. That photograph, when my son and daughter came, I gave them a photocopy of it and sent it with them, and they gave it to Patricia.
That was
Finnegan.
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 Yes, Finnegan. We have two other pictures. One of them shows one of the sons. I believe that his name was Martin. But
I just tell you,
Yeah.
he was the last one of the family
Yes.
to leave.
yes,
Jimi Ging.
yes. And I don't know him. I don't know anything about him.
I don't know anything about him now either.
Yeah.
But that he was the last.
He was the last one. Yeah.
Last one to leave.
So he went to America too.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I did not know that.
And you had a story about him that
Yeah, so this is a story we heard many, many times. When I believe it was Martin, it may have been one of the other boys, got himself into trouble. I'm not sure exactly what he was doing, but he was doing something, something to do with the revolution and irritating the British.
Yes, yes.
And the British, the Black and Tan, came to their cottage in the middle of the night and took him out and tied him to a donkey and dragged him to Spittal. And his brain was not quite the same afterwards. He had, I don't know, and he was the one we didn't know anything about. I don't know. I know that part of the story. Whether his brain was, I'm not sure. But the story of that they came to the house in the middle of the night, that part was true, yeah. Yeah, long time ago.
Yeah, probably that happened probably around 1920.
Yeah, just about, yeah.
The Black and Tans would be probably 1990, 20.
Yes, about then, yeah.
They were the years.
Yeah.
And, how many were in the family? You heard that there was a very big family.
I heard there were 14.
I don't know. There were 6 that I knew of in my area between Boston and Maine. 6 of them, and my mother knew them, and my mother was born in 1920, so she knew a lot of the cousins and aunts and uncles that were there, and I know there were a few others that didn't come, and I suppose not all of them lived to adulthood. I don't really know.
I heard there was 14, but some of them died at a very young age. I think.
That makes sense. The youngest one was Julia, and she was born much later, and she came, I knew her when I was young. No, I didn't know her, I knew her husband. But they lived in New Jersey. But yes, so many of them did come, yeah. But I maybe 6, maybe 7 that were in, that I knew of. The rest I don't know about them. And Martin, I don't know what happened to him. I didn't know he left.
She didn't know he went to America, but he did, obviously.
Yeah.
Or would he have died at home? No.
I wouldn't be able to. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then you had relations in Teach Mór as well.
My grandmother, Barbara Ying, married, her husband was Costello, from up, what did I say, Ballynahown? Yeah, there, that area. When I visited here 41 years ago, I came with 2 uncles and an aunt. And we found my grandmother's house. My aunt knew to ask. There was a woman at Stanton's in Spittle, an older woman in the back, and they said, if you ask her, she might know. And she remembered because she said when she was young, her mother used to come and use the loom. They called it the weaver's house. And she said anybody in the neighborhood who wanted to could use the loom. So she used to go with her grandmother and mother when she was young, and they used the loom. So she knew which house it was.
Yeah.
But my grandfather's house, there were still people living there. This was, what did I say, Ballynahown?
Ballynahown.
Yeah, yeah.
So we had an idea that Liam's wife, Kelly said her name was Mary Farty.
Mary Farty.
That she was back from Ballynahown, that area. Would that be right?
I can tell you the story we always heard growing up. My grandmother, it was the same household that I lived in. And my grandmother always told the story that her mother was born, Mary Farty, was born in Baltimore, Maryland, in the United States. That her grandparents had left, went there, and they had 3 children. And her husband died. She was 3 very young children, I think all girls, but 3 young children. And she had to decide, do I stay and raise my kids by myself, or do I go home where I have family?
Mm.
So she came back, and Mary Farty grew up here, but had not been born here.
Okay.
And her father's name was, I think, Timothy Farty. But yes, now that you say that, my grandfather, Patrick Costello, his mother was also a Farty from Ballynahown.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
there was a story that we were discussing that,
Yeah.
and we weren't sure, but we thought she was back from that area,
Yeah.
but we weren't too sure.
Costello, bet you that to be called for it.
There was a Coleman.
No, that's it, Cole Fodgin,
Yeah,
said.
yes, that was his
Cole
father.
Fodgin.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
that's Cole, and probably his father again was Fodgin.
Yes, yes, it was. Yes.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
Cole Fodgin.
And another.
They're still back there.
Yeah.
There.
I know they are there. I haven't found them yet. There's a Bartley. I don't know how to say that in Irish.
Bartlett,
Yeah.
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 And that Cole Fodgin, is he related to Colin Fat Hamish' wife? No? No. No, I don't think they're wrong. They're not the same.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I know, I wouldn't know. You know Colin Fat Hamish's wife?
I know that. Now what I say. They're both Costellos, aren't you, would say?
That would be, yeah.
But I know the ones in the family now in Ballynahown. Couldn't find in the.
Oh, I don't know.
They're still there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there.
Yeah. When I visited, where the main road turns north, there's a road that goes straight and a road that turns left.
The one left was down to Ballynahown.
Yes, if you turned left, it was maybe 2 or 3 houses along right there. And it was a modern house, and behind it was the thatch cottage. That when I visited in 1977, that house, the thatch cottage, was there like a shed and for the cows but it was still standing and still maintained.
Yeah.
And I met would have been, I think, a cousin of my grandfather. She was, if she were alive now, she'd probably be over 100. And I do not remember her name. And I think her son and grandson still live in that area, although her son may not be around anymore, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. No, I wouldn't know
Yeah.
them too well now.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't know them too well at all. And then you see the road signs. There's a little road with the Liam Ging. Did you see that?
You told Michael,
Yeah.
and he told me, but I haven't seen it. I'll have to go look to find out. Yeah.
Yeah. When you know where the old cottages.
Yes.
If you drive up the hill.
Yeah.
And it's on the right hand side.
Ah. All right. Well.
And there's all the roads recently that they named all the roads.
Yeah.
Because they were probably saying if it wasn't done now, the younger generation would forget about them.
Yeah, you're right.
And there's a sign Liam, which means a small road, Liam Ging.
Ah.
Yeah.
Ah.
So obviously some of them lived at some stage on that road as well.
I had heard that he had a brother, I think it was Michael, but I'm not sure that his name, that was a tailor or something who lived up in the hills. But I don't know if I'm telling this,
Yeah.
if I really know that or if I just think that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the brother of Liam Ging, is
Yes,
it? Yeah.
yes,
He was a weaver as well.
yes. Oh, he was, huh?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
The brother.
Yes.
The weaver.
Okay,
yeah,
the weaver, yeah.
Yeah. And
Well,
where
no, his name was Sean.
Oh, Sean, huh?
Yes, 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 Sean.
so Liam's brother was Sean.
Yes.
And then I never saw him, but I often heard about him. Was it Mike Ging?
Mike Ging. He was a weaver as well.
Yeah, Mike
Yeah,
Ging.
that's,
He lived in Teach Mór.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
yeah. And the scholar, Irish scholar, Thomas de Waldry, he was a famous Irish scholar, and he wrote kind of a thesis on Cosharrig in this area here,
Yeah.
on their Irish dialect. It's kind of a, it's a scholarly book.
Yeah, I had heard that someone a long time ago had come and studied how, I had heard it was of Liam, but someone had come and studied how they spoke
That's right.
to learn how
the phonetics and
the
the
phonetics
dialect
and the dialect.
Yeah.
I had heard that. I
And,
didn't know it was true.
and in his book, he makes Mike Ging is often mentioned,
Ah,
and he said that Mike Ging he was unique because he had no English at all. So would that be strange? You know,
It's very strange.
yeah, he had no English,
Yeah.
That's very strange.
and so then probably you already then the scholar would have relied a lot on him
Yeah.
because like you know his manner of speech would be very kind of uncorrupted, like it'd be very
Very pure.
very pure.
Yeah.
What year did Mike die? But I never saw him now, but I often heard people talking about him. He lived with his sister, is that right?
He did. Oh, he'd be dead for.
So this is the 60s, were you?
I'd say now he died maybe late 50s or early 60s.
Yeah. Yeah, but his name. No, if I get the book now, I can make a photocopy of that particular page.
Yeah.
I'd be able to email it on to you.
That would be lovely. Yes.
Yeah.
That would be lovely. Yeah. Yeah.
So you'd be quite close enough related to him too, wouldn't you?
Yes. Yeah.
You know?
He would be my mother's cousin. I mean, my grandmother's cousin.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So second cousin, I think, is that something like that? Yeah.
And people said that maybe if you go back that they were from Clare. Did you hear that story?
Who?
The Gings.
Oh, definitely they were from Clare.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
But I heard that some of them went back to Corn as well.
Or in Danish.
The Danish.
Yeah, there's an island off Lettermullen called Danish.
Yeah.
In Irish it's probably Daighinis.
Yeah.
And they were very much into they were good boatmen.
Yeah.
And probably at some stage then one of them moved and came to this area here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know the surname Clare, Ging isn't Clare because there was some Irish representative on the United Nations. I think deal with humanitarian affairs.
Oh.
His name was Ging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody believes me when I say my Irish name was Ying. They say that's Chinese.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's,
yeah.
No,
It
no, it is.
doesn't.
It's
Yeah,
real.
yeah. I don't know what's the origin of the surname.
Nothing about it. I don't know.
No.
I don't know.
I think there's some of them translated somewhere, they call it mocking.
Yeah, yeah.
Macqueen.
Yeah.
Macqueen.
When my grandmother came, her papers, she was Barbara King. When her sister Sarah came, she was Sarah McGinn.
Macqueen.
And at some point they made her, Aunt Sarah had to change her name to King. They made her, so the name was all the same.
McGinn.
But yeah, McGinn, yeah, McGinn, yeah.
McGinn. Meek is the son of.
Yeah,
You know, most of the Irish surnames are Mac or O.
or oh, yeah,
Yeah, the son of.
yeah,
So McGinn.
yeah.